Hey everyone, Ryan Young, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. Hope you're doing well. So I got this submission from one of our Irvine, California students. Can you talk about how important it needs to be, the concept of being on top in a fight versus, how people play in a Jiu-Jitsu tournament? And this is very important. One thing that I remember when I met with a couple Carlson Gracie guys, this is way back when, probably in the 90s. Yeah, it was actually the mid 90s. I remember when Carlson opened his Los Angeles, California academy. I had dropped in I think I did one class. And one of the things that they talked about was, although they play guard, they always want to be on top. Right? And if you look at the old school Carlson Gracie guys, they were always guys who always were on top. They rarely ever played from their back. And the reason is because in doing Vale Tudo, you don't ever want to be on your back. You're on your back because somebody made you be on your back. Now here's the thing, today's Jiu-Jitsu, and I've talked about this in multiple videos, today's Jiu-Jitsu is so different. By the way, can you hear that? Cicadas. They make a ton of noise. But anyway, let's try this out, right? Today's Jiu-Jitsu tournament is truly a sport. It's no longer a sportive version of fighting, right? So what Jiu-Jitsu tournaments used to be in the past is that guys would do Jiu-Jitsu, right? With the gi and all that. They do Vale Tudo, they would fight. Vale Tudo, for those of you who don't know, is the predecessor to MMA. Vale Tudo, really, the only rules at the time were no biting, no eye gouging, and no groin pinches, but you could punch them in the nuts. And sometimes these things would happen and they would still fight. There might be a ref there, but I don't even know what the ref was there for a lot of times, because the stuff that would happen in these Vale Tudo matches, because they would keep fighting. So in Vale Tudo and in a fight, you need to be on top. You cannot be on your back. But in today's competition, Jiu-Jitsu, people have no problem being on their back. And it actually starts at a very young age. In fact, one of my teen girls, she was in a tournament, and she went right up to her opponent right after the ref says go, walks up to the opponent, and as soon as they approach, the girl sits on her butt and wants to play guard, right? You are not training somebody in self-defense or to protect themselves if that's going to be their first option. Now, I know a lot of you say, a lot of you guys who get all offended and butthurt who do competition say, well, yeah, I know that. I'm not going to do that in a real fight. How do you know, right? Because if that's what your training is, then you're going to do that. You may not realize you're going to do it, but you're going to do it. Even younger kids, and this girl is 15 years old, right? These are two 15-year-old girls. I've seen younger kids do it. I've seen two of them go and baseball slide into each other, right? There's no takedown, right? Why? Because people want to play guard. Why? I do not know. They need to play on top. Now, I say, okay, well, I'm top, the guy's going to take my leg. Okay, yeah, whatever. Maybe, maybe not. Well, if your leg is susceptible when you're on top, make it so it's not, right? Because playing off of your back, in a grappling match may have some advantages, but a Jiu-Jitsu tournament should be a way for you to have a sportive version of your fight training. It should be a way to kind of tone down the fight activities, right? The punching, the kicking, the stomping, the biting, all that stuff. Take all that stuff out, but still everything else is the same. But it's not. Today's tournaments are very different, right? You can't slam in a tournament, and you heard me talk about this multiple times. You can't slam in a tournament. Why not? Because it is not a sportive version of a self-defense art. It's a sport. You can't slam somebody in a Jiu-Jitsu tournament, just like you can't touch somebody's face in judo, just like you can't body slam somebody on the football field, right? Just like you can't headlock someone in a wrestling match, right? You got to add an arm in there, right? There's a lot of stuff that it's not it's not watering down a fight sequence. It's outright changing of a sequence so that it's not a fight sequence anymore. So in your training, of course, you need to practice being on the bottom, but you also need to have a mentality of always getting on top, right? You defend, you get on top. You defend, you get on top. It's not you defend, and keep playing from your back. If you're trying to give somebody something, trying to give your training partner something, because let's say your training partner is not as good as you, so you're trying to spot your opponent some things, so you play from your back. Well, that's fine. Play from your back, get out of what he's attempting, get up on top, and then go back on your back again. What I do is I tell myself, I tell myself in my mind, okay, I'm going on my back, and I go on my back, right? I don't just automatically do it because I don't want it to be in my training. I don't want to automatically do it to the point where somebody goes, why'd you do that? You're like, I don't know, it just happened. You don't want it to be that way. You want it to be deliberate. So you're on your back and somebody's, maybe cross-side mount or whatever, you get out and you work to get up on top. And once you're on top, then say, okay, I'm going to give it up and I'm going to go on my back again. That's perfectly legitimate. That way your training will always be there for you when you get into that unforeseen circumstance where you need to fight. How many of you have seen that video this came out about 5-6 years ago, guys playing basketball and just kind of two guys just jawing at each other, and one of them actually goes to the ground on his back and then hooks the guy's leg up in a knee bar or a heel hook or whatever, right? And the guy on top didn't throw any punches at him, but the Jiu-Jitsu guy went straight to the ground and went for the leg. Not what I would do, right? But and then he locked the guy's leg up and he said, I could have broken your leg if I wanted to. Yeah, maybe not, who knows? But it would have been better had he gotten on top of the guy and just looked at him in the face and go, are you gonna cool down? And if the guy's still mad up on his back, trying to fight, soften him up a little bit, as we say. But the guy on the bottom knows what's up, and you on top, you are absolutely, well, not absolutely, but much safer on top of the guy than you are on the back, right? So maybe you do hook his leg and you break it. The guy has a knife in his pocket, right? Pulls a knife out and boom, right? That kind of stuff can happen if you're on your back and you can't see things. So, to summarize, make sure you get yourself in the mindset of training on top. Realize how important it is and get yourself to the position. Don't automatically give up. Don't be in the practice of giving up that top position. Anyway, that's all I got for you for this video. Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe and come join us at any one of our academies: Flower Mound, Texas; Irvine, California; Austin, Texas; or come and join us at KAATARO.online.com, and where you can have a 3-day trial for free, and then you can get our videos, all the lessons, and learn Kama Jiu-Jitsu the way I learned it from Master Dave Kama. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Take care. Happy training. Bye now.